Intonation and stress. What are they? What's the difference? Well, intonation describes how voices rise and fall in speech. There's three main patterns of it: falling intonation, rising intonation, and fall-rise intonation, which all sound very similar, admittedly. Boring names for patterns aside, intonation itself is actually really quite exciting. We use it all of the time. You use it to distinguish types of sentences, statements, questions, commands. But it also allows you to express emotion. Stress, in a sentence anyway, is used when you put particular emphasis on a singular word. Together with intonation, they help you say what you really mean. Because sometimes words lie. Now, it sounds easy, right? Saying what you mean. We think that we do it all of the time. And sometimes when we're telling stories to an audience or to your friends, we actually forget how important intonation and stress can actually be. They're the heart of almost every story. Don't believe me about how important they actually are? Let me demonstrate with an exercise. You can change the which word you emphasize in the sentence, "A king was a good man," and you will change the meaning with every single word. The king was a good man. On the surface, the way most people read this is very factual. The king was a good man. What's more to say? It's obvious, right? But let's go deeper. If you say, "The king was a good man," the whole meaning of the phrase changes. Now he's a king who in his youth was good, but perhaps as an adult, he strayed into tyranny and oppression against his people. Let's change the meaning again. The king was a good man. Well, it is possible to be a good man and a terrible king. Let's change it again. The king was a good man. Well, perhaps the king is a good man. Perhaps his advisors are not. Perhaps the queen is not good. Perhaps the country he rules is not. All you know from that is the king is a good man. Let's change it one last time. The king was a good man. Now, good in this context, because of the way I've stressed it, good can sometimes mean mediocre if you say it right. He's good. He's all right. But he's not great. His name is not going to live in the history books. He's only a good man, not a great king. You can do exactly the same thing with the phrases, "I never said she stole my money," or "I can't believe he won first prize." So how exactly do we know which words to use stress on? Well, every sentence that you say has two types of words in it: content and structure. Content words are like the key word for sentences. They're the really important ones that carry the actual meaning of what you're saying. They're the sense in the sentence. Structure words are less important. They help the sentence make sense grammatically, but they don't actually add any content to what you're saying. And you can remove structure words from a sentence and it will still make sense. But if you remove content words, well, then you remove all of the sense from a saying. Here's a good example. The phrase, "I want you to sell my car for me because I've gone to France." It seems like a really long sentence. But if we actually just remove all of the structure words from it, it becomes this: sell car, gone France. Now, grammatically, it makes no sense. But anybody reading those four words can understand what I'm trying to convey. They make sense even if they are very fragmented. But if you do the same thing with the content words, same sentence makes no sense. "I want you to buy for me because I've to." Sentences without content make no sense. One of the easiest ways to think of it is as music. Everything that you say has its own flow, its own rhythm. Finding the correct notes to play at the right time changes everything, in both stories, sentences, and even in music and dance. It's a skill that we learn through talking, but it will carry you everywhere.